What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Scares! Today we're continuing on our disgusting journey through Human Centipede series of films with the second one entitled The Human Centipede Full Sequence. Where do I even begin with this one? Guys, I have a strong stomach. I can smile through a lot of stuff. I can smile through every single Saw film. And truthfully, the first movie in this series wasn't as bad as people put it out to be. Now, I just chalk that up to the fact that I can stomach through anything. No, I can't. No, I can't. The Human Centipede 2 is the most disgusting, vile movie I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot. Before anything substantial even happens in the movie, I felt sick to my stomach, all due to the atmosphere of the thing. But we have time. I just can't believe that people partook in pecuniary investments to see this thing. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, pecuniary, consisting of, relating to, or measured in money. The Human Centipede full sequence focuses on Martin, a parking garage attendant who is absolutely obsessed with the first Human Centipede film, and he watches it on repeat, fantasizing about pulling off the same stunt in real life, convinced that it's 100% medically accurate. Only instead of the 3 victims as seen in the original film, Martin strives to go a little bit bigger, aiming for 12 people instead to create the perfect human centipede. There's only one difference between the first film and Martin's twisted mind. The film had a renowned surgeon. Martin's just a guy, and without that medical knowledge, things are bound to go awry. Truthfully, I want to jump straight into the negatives found in this film because I don't want to admit that there are positives. I don't want to admit that this film made some smart decisions. What I want to do instead is just say that the whole thing is scum of the earth and you're making the worst decision of your life by watching it. But I have a duty here. I have to mention where this film did make smart decisions because it undoubtedly made them. First of all, when you compare this movie to the first, it's like light and day. It looks a million times better, partially because it was dealt with in a really contrasting black and white that somehow is more gruesome than what you'd get with color. It's in part based on the cinematography because in general, it feels much more like a movie than the first one ever did, which felt really, really cheap and really amateur. Next, this film did exactly what it sought out to do, whether you like that or not, and it disgusts the audience. I'm not even talking about the mouth-to-butt thing, that was in the first movie, and I was fine. No, I was disgusted from the very beginning of this movie, before anything ever happens. Just seeing this guy stare blankly ahead unnerved me to my core. He's a very, very good character. I didn't think that they'd be able to make a more disgusting person than the mad scientist in the first movie, but this guy feels like the real deal. He doesn't even feel like a character or an actor. It was like we were peering into the life of a severely deranged individual. Thirdly, the pacing of the film. If it were any other movie in the world, it would be a perfect paced film. It gets tenser and tenser as the film progresses. The direty of the situation gets even more maddening than you would have ever thought possible. This guy uses rusty old tools to knock out and cut open his victims. I mean, I had to look away when he would use old scissors to cut these people's knees open. I had to look away when he used hammer to knock out their teeth, and then these people would start choking on the teeth that fell down into their throat. It's downright disgusting, but you have to point out the fact that that was the point. And because that was the point, they did exactly what they sought out to do, and you gotta give them props for that. Finally, one of the best elements of this film is that it's meta. It takes place in our world where the first movie is a movie, which heightens the fact that this is horrific because while watching, you fully understand why you feel so sick, because the movie does a terrific job convincing you that the first movie was just that, a movie, and this is real. That's why this one makes you sick. It makes you nauseous because it doesn't let up. It just gets worse and worse. But let's talk about some negatives here because it's really important to mention a few things. First of all, I do not like this movie. Not even a little bit. I've seen and reviewed over 1,900 films at this point, and not one has left me feeling so utterly sick. There were countless times in this film where I felt like just jumping out of my seat, rushing to the bathroom, and hurling out my guts. That's not scary, that's just nasty. And there's another problem. This is such a flat film, without any depth or sustenance. There's very little point to watch the thing, other than to maybe be grossed out. There's nobody to root for. You can't even love to hate this guy. You can only hate him. It seems like that was the point, and personally, I hate it when movies feel so empty. That's when they dive into the artsy-fartsy department, and all you have left to appreciate is the subject matter, and this was never anything that I could have appreciated. Come on now, let's go ahead and break down my score. From an unbiased technical level, I can appreciate some of the things that were done in this film. Not like, but appreciate. Unfortunately, it's nothing that I consider technically perfect, but some things do stand out. So that scores 66%. But here's the thing, guys. Personally, if I could score it based solely on how I felt about it, I wouldn't go over maybe a 4 out of 10 rating because I can, still appreciate some of those technical choices that it made. But that's just the thing about my scores. When it comes down to my bias score, that also goes into the franchise-specific expectations that I have. Like, does it fit within the franchise? It does. Does it add anything new? Yes. Did they make the film that they intended to make? I can't say that they didn't. So that does affect my bias score, which was 62%, averaging everything out to a final score of 64%, 64 out of 100 possible stars, or a D-letter grade, which means, unfortunately, that it passes. I really wish that it failed, but it didn't. That would have made me happy. But I have to be honest for when the film actually makes technical choices that were good. Ah well, let me know your thoughts on this film in the comments section down below. Does it make you barf? As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this review, because there's always more like it coming out each and every single day. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I come out with my review for Human Centipede Part 3. Until then, peace out!
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us. We